Yo, 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 it's Our Lifestyle, the podcast, and it's ODB. I'm the producer and co-host of the first mini trucking inspired podcast. We've been going hard for the past 4.5, almost 5 years. Check us out via any major streaming platform where you listen or find podcasts, including Apple Podcasts or our host, Podbean. Download the app, search Our Lifestyle, the podcast. Again, first mini trucking inspired podcast. If you've been following, we've been going through each mini trucking magazine, starting with the first issue that I own, which is issue number 3. We're now up to issue number 7, which is technically volume 4, number 2. Again, not going to go over the numbering system. I kind of hit upon that earlier in this flip through series. Make sure, again, you subscribe to the podcast. And if you like what we're doing here, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment below, let us know what you like, what you would maybe like to see in addition to what we've already been doing. So let's dive right in. And before we do that, I want to give a huge shout out to our title sponsor, Scrapin' the Coast, which is part of Custom Car Show Productions. This show is an annual show in Biloxi, Mississippi, going on 20 years strong. Check it out. scrapinthecoast.com, June 22nd through the 28th this year. And it is still on. COVID cannot hold us down. Let's all get past it, hopefully. Hopefully you guys are safe and sound out there. And we'll turn our attention to, as I mentioned, spring 1990. So 30 years ago. This significance of this issue is it's the first from Brian McCormick. We had Brian McCormick on the podcast. If you want to go back and listen to the history on how he got started within McMullen Argus at that time. And this is his first cover that he shot. The first 2 were by Doug Culp, I believe you say it. And then the next 4 were shot by Alan Paradise, as we mentioned. So Brian McCormick, you got the silly string, you got the tilt beds on the rise, as we always say. And again, let's jump right in. So Viper Alarms, we know that they were all the rage back then. That was one of the bigger companies that I can remember, and the advertising was just spot on. You got X-Tang with the classic, with the cool colors, really reminiscent of the time period. And it's pretty cool how all this stuff is really kind of coming back into style. The pages on this are just, pretty thick overall, the color pages. And it's a really, really good issue overall in terms of the quality and the binding and things like that. Obviously a lot of these magazines over the years had changed because of budgetary reasons. But I can tell you what, for this magazine being literally 30 years old, since when it was produced, it's in very, very good condition. It's part of the collection here at the compound. So you can see here, volume 4, number 2, spring 1990, as I mentioned. Gatherings are taking place all over. I mean, look at the classic, how all the trucks are parked so close together. Pretty cool. Got the little Suzuki, it looks like there. And on the cover, Linda Sobek, some of you will know that name, seems to be getting the best of Robert Summers in a massive silly string war. The inspiration for such a battle comes from the wild splatter graphics Robert applied to his Toyota Extra Cab. And you see BMC, which is his nickname, Brian McCormick. Again, huge shout out to the homie for coming on the podcast. He has a long, rich history in the publication, or publishing business, I should say. Pretty cool here, California Mini Truck. Back when you just, could buy some performance parts for your truck. You'd have to make the call. Of course, check that out. Looks like you can get a catalog there. Or potentially, yeah, that's what it looks like. Money order, whatever. I guess you could order that way too back in those days, but most probably just called. So Cruise It or Lose It. Got Steve Stillwell, classic editorial here. I'll kind of try to get it all in here in case you guys want to read some of this. I guess I should kind of go down like this. You can pause it. And some of you are probably going, well, who wants to read all this? But believe it or not, there's a lot of cool history. There's a lot of little fun facts that we'll pull out that helps us with our posts. We'll see people post photos all the time, and instead of, and this isn't a slight against anyone, a lot of folks will take a quick screenshot because it's a cool photo. They'll give photo credit, which I think is cool. What we try to do is figure out what show is it, when was that show? And based upon the data that we've, a lot of the data that we pulled from this magazine, we can usually glean and say, okay, the show, like for instance, I did a post earlier today, and it was from the 10th annual Cal Truck Jam. That was August 11th of 96. Now, I had questioned myself there because I was looking at my notes, and then I had taken that out, but I've got to add that back in because pretty confident the Pathfinder was from that show. So those are the kind of things that we're able to do based upon the ads from the show or from the show coverage with the dates, show shirts, things like that. And then we put that into our calendar, and the rest is history. So check this out. Now, this is kind of cool. In some of these old issues, I will find things like this. Now, check this out. Whitley. This is something I didn't notice before when I went through this issue, to be honest. Whitley is a name that many of you will remember. And when I went to, Orange Beach Invasion earlier this year, I sat down with Greg Miller, who puts on Scraping the Coast. And he told me the history about Whitley. And he worked along with them early on. And look at that. Big Daddy Bill Cox. So pretty cool. This is the kind of cool stuff that I'll find sometimes. And look at that. 30 years ago, this past month. Now we're in May. But pretty cool stuff, man. Love digging up the history of this mini truck scene that we all love. Radical Madness. Check it out, Rodney. Again, the color's pretty good. I got to thank one of my homies for helping me with this collection. There were early issues that I never thought that I would own. Now, I did start reading the magazine based upon my memory in 93, Truckin and Mini Truckin. I have both of my first issues that I physically own, or that my parents purchased for me at that age. But it's pretty cool. I had a buddy that, Jeff, that really took care of me and, helped out for this cause, which allows us to go through this. Now, if anyone has, check that out. California Fender Trim. Them bathing suits, though. If anyone has a line on issue 1 or 2, let me know. There's possible that I need another issue from 92. Going through my issues earlier today, there's one with an Isuzu with a jacuzzi in the back, and for some reason, it's not where I thought it would be, so I've got to run that issue down. But for anyone that helps us out, we'll make sure we'll get you a shout out. We will, work something out, trade for merchandise, or if you've got a price on the issue, let me know. You can comment below, and then we'll get in touch with you. Showdown. The 89 SHO Ranger. Shannon Bullis loves his Rangers, I'll tell you that. He's an old school mini trucker. He's got Mike Shartz's old truck that was on the cover of Truckin. I think he picked up the other convertible Ranger too. I think he's got, and then he has the tandem axle Ranger that he owns. He's got a lot of stuff out there, but that's just made me think of him when I see Rangers. The Party Pen, portable hot tub for portable fun by Brian McCormick. And if you flip back here, you can see mini truck jacuzzi. That was the little tie-in to this tech article. Coyote's Den. Now this issue I think features 6 trucks. This is one of them. And you'll see there it is an 86 GMC S15. This is by Brian McCormick. So pretty cool that one, it's got the tilt bed and you see the custom interior in the bed. That wasn't something you would see often, especially with no topper. I mean, hell, from the time that I started going to shows in 96, my recollection, I've never seen anything like that where the bed is all done like that without a topper. I've seen like Suzuki Samurais and things like that where they have a snap on top, and like the Amigo. I actually owned an Amigo for a while and drove that lowered. But I have like no photos of me in that thing. Maybe because it was a purple Amigo. It was my homie's, which they sold it to me. So you got the cover truck, man. Love this artwork. I mean, as cheesy as it may be by today's standards, I mean, this is just very classic of that time. Yeah, Brian McCormick that also did the write-up. 85 Toyota Extra Cab. Check out the bed. It's got that webbing net deal, and then he's got the surfboard. It looks like it's kind of levitating in between the two nets there. But man, you know, just the styles. It's funny. This is my era from a you know, being raised in this era, but you know, it's, to me, I wasn't like a teenager, so to speak. You know, I was kind of a, you know, getting ready to go into my teens when this issue came out. I mean, basically like 12 years old. And it's just a great time, man. I think back to the 80s, the colors, the styles, and you see a lot of that with hip hop, even with some of the covers that people have done, paying homage to, like Parents Just Don't Understand with Will Smith and DJ Jazzy Jeff. But these colors in this era, hard to beat. So this is the marquee. You hear me kind of call this out with many of these. When I went through almost every issue of Mini Truckin', I've still got some more to go through. I got a chance to really see a lot of these, of course, Mini Truckin' marquee layouts, and it was pretty cool that they did that. It just helped them, you know, from what I can tell, have more features. Turbo to go. Glass art. And that was something that I know a lot of people had done, where it was the etching on the glass. Rumble toy. Super clean looking. Alan Paradise. One of the early guys, if you will, to really make this thing happen. Got to give him a lot of credit. And then look, there's Whitley again, introducing now paid advertisement. And what a way to build up and advertise the different shows that they were having. So a lot of people know Bill Cox. He was, of course, tied into that. You see his name there. Water Mania 1990. Some of you guys, I know some of you guys were there because you've told me, and you've reminisced about those classic shows. I think if Bill Cox if he were to throw a show this weekend, I would be there, as long as we weren't in this COVID crap, because they were just fun. Check that out. I wonder if Disney was going to try to sue them. Just messing around. All right, check this out. First annual Southern Mini Truckin' Nats, Pigeon Forge. Now, there were the two shows. I know my buddies used to tell me there were the two competing, like the ex-husband and wife deal. I looked at this one time and I started doing the math, and I was like, okay, 90, that's 30 years ago. I don't know if this is actually the mini Nats that we know today. Some of you may know, because maybe there were a couple years that were skipped. I know Jason Bell has it now. And I actually have a cool sticker that, give me 1 second, right here. Doing these raw videos so I don't have to edit and get these things out quicker. This is the 26th annual. Now, the show was moved. It's going to be the 23rd through the 25th this October in Maggie Valley, North Carolina. But as many of you know, for years it was in Pigeon Forge. My buddy Marlon, he lives right by me. Courtney shot his truck at Pigeon Forge, 2000 maybe? I think he finished at around 99, so 99, 2000, 2001, something like that. A lot of famous trucks were there over those years. We're looking forward to Mini Truckin' Nats. You can follow, type in Mini Truckin' Nats on Instagram for more information. Jason Bell and team are really looking to get past this COVID BS. And shout out to everybody out there that's trying to just make it and staying safe and healthy. Hopefully, I know we've lost some people, so rest in peace to the dearly departed. So some people had paused this, or they had noticed some of the clubs, and they made a comment on one of the past videos I thought was pretty cool. I think it was one of my NC brothers in Florida. Now, of course, I'm in Severed Ties Florida chapter, but you know, we call them, that's our lowest brotherhood, NC in the house. Shout out to Courtney Hallowell, rest in peace. We'll start to see the role that he played in this magazine as we get further along. Riding around Always love seeing these because, you know, again, they weren't full features, but imagine if you had submitted your vehicle and it was cool enough to appear in a magazine. Club directory continued as they would do for the time. So here's Easter Spring Splash. Many of you know this show. We've, I think, hashtagged that one pretty good with any of the show coverage we come across. Now, that issue that I was telling you that I might be missing, I don't know if it was 92. There's an Isuzu that has a Superdome with a jacuzzi in it. I've got to find that issue. According to my records, I have it, but I don't see it. Okay, so here you've got some more advertisements. Pick up summer issue of Mini Truckin Magazine on sale April 17, 1990. Giving the shout outs again because most of you were probably buying it off the newsstands. And then introducing ground effects for pickups. What? Look at all those accessories. Now, I got to a point where I wasn't a fan. Many of you probably aren't of a lot of these accessories. Like I never really liked these necessarily. But some of these things, the Lund accessories, like the cab visors, and even there's a rear cab spoiler, I think they call it. Those things are tough to find. I think they go for upwards of $300-400. And for the C30s, and I guess you could maybe technically have it on the 1500 or 25, but mostly the dualies would have those. But yeah, there you go. Classic issue, really good condition. This is one in my collection. Again, thanks to my homie Jeff. And it's been, gosh, almost 30 years that I've been reading this and Truckin. And some of you guys, of course, predate that by a few years, but we're all in it for the same thing, the love that we have for the truck scene. So, again, check us out. We're trying to ramp up more video on the YouTube platform. That's why we're doing these kind of raw, uncut videos to get the content out there. Now, every week in 2019, we dropped a new episode every single Friday. Now, we also sprinkled in on some Mondays. In 2020, we're also doing the same. We've literally dropped in every episode since we started this year in early January. So go out there, search Our Lifestyle Podcast. Again, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Spotify, however you find podcasts. And if you're kind of scratching your head going, I don't know what a podcast is, no worries. A lot of people, they will find their gateway podcast, if you will. And then once they do, they love them. There's tons of them out there, whether you're a Back to the Future fan, C10 fan, OBS trucks, minis, all kinds of stuff, hip hop, whatever you